You are sitting in a waiting room. Your phone is dead. There is nothing to read, nothing to look at, nothing to do. Within 90 seconds, something in your chest starts to itch. You call this feeling boredom. You treat it like a malfunction, something to be fixed immediately. But the real answer is far stranger. That itch is one of the oldest survival systems in your brain. Psychologist John Eastwood led a research team in 2012 that redefined boredom completely. It is the unpleasant feeling of wanting to engage with the world and being unable to. Your mind is not empty during boredom. It is straining against a locked door. So what is on the other side? To answer that, go back hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors spent most of their waking hours doing almost nothing that looked productive, sitting near a fire, watching a horizon. If boredom did not exist, that stillness would have felt comfortable, and your ancestors could have stayed content, unmotivated, safe, forever. That is exactly the kind of person who does not survive. Boredom is what made stillness intolerable. It pushed a restless mind to scan the horizon one more time, to wander farther from camp, to test a new tool out of sheer discomfort with doing nothing. Anthropologist Peter Tuhey has traced this feeling across history, and every culture humans have ever documented has some version of boredom, because the feeling was already built in before culture existed at all. So why does it feel so unbearable now, in a world with more entertainment available than any human in history has ever had? Here is the twist. Boredom was never designed to be comfortable. It was designed to be exactly unbearable enough to force movement. Your brain does not know the difference between a savanna with no food in sight and a waiting room with no phone signal. Both register as the same ancient signal. Nothing useful is happening. Change something. In 2014, psychologist Timothy Wilson ran an experiment that became infamous in behavioral science. Participants sat alone in an empty room for 15 minutes with nothing to do but think. Their only other option was a button that delivered a mild electric shock. You would assume nobody chooses pain over boredom. You would be wrong. A significant number of participants shocked themselves rather than sit with their own thoughts. Wilson's conclusion was blunt. People will do almost anything to escape an unoccupied mind. That means boredom functions like a primal alarm, and alarms are not subtle. They are built to be impossible to ignore because for your ancestors ignoring them could mean death. So why does that alarm push you toward new things specifically, instead of just any activity? Neuroscientists trace part of the answer to dopamine, the brain chemical most people link to pleasure, but which actually has more to do with prediction and novelty. Your dopamine system does not reward you for activity. It rewards you for activity your brain has not modeled yet. That is why scrolling the same 5 apps for the 100th time can feel emptier than sitting in silence. Your hands are busy. Nothing new is happening. The activity is a costume. Underneath it, your brain still registers the room as empty, which means an entire industry has been built around exploiting this exact mechanism. Every infinite scroll is engineered to deliver the next piece of novelty just fast enough that the ancient alarm never fully shuts off, but never fast enough that you feel finished. You are not relaxing when you scroll, you are foraging. Your ancestors foraged across a savanna for food that might or might not be there. You forage across a feed for something interesting that might or might not show up. Only the terrain has changed. Here is the real reframe. Boredom is not your enemy. It is a compass. the feeling of unused capacity in a brain built for constant problem solving. Psychologist Sandy Mann found something counterintuitive in her research. People given a boring task before a creative task performed significantly better on the creative task afterward compared to people who skipped straight to it. The boredom was not wasted time, it was incubation. So consider what happens when boredom is never allowed to arrive, not reduced, eliminated. The ancient alarm that once pushed your ancestors toward discovery now has nowhere to send you, because the next stimulus is always one tap away. The empty space where new ideas used to form gets filled before it can finish its job, which brings you back to that chair, phone dead, nothing to look at. The itch is not a defect, it is the same circuitry that once sent a hungry ancestor wandering into the dark, searching for something better. Tonight, when the silence sets in and your hands have nothing to hold, you will feel that same pull. The question is not whether you can make it go away. The question is what it has been trying to lead you toward all along.